This week, I was thinking, I don't know why, but I wanted to discuss the Indian... Saying, but this point, this Indian... Negaya the Maimed of Matzav of Sholom Lasad Lavi. What is the role the Goyim play in the whole Indian Lasad Lavi?
After Moshiach comes.
Yeah. So the truth is, this is a whole Indian Shabbat. The Rabbi has a famous sikh on this. We want to discuss first of all some of the basic inyanim, and then some of more getting into deeper understandings and hagdadus of exactly what it's all about. So first of all, as I say, in the Yehudim, in the promises of Geula, if you think about it, so as for us as Yidden, the main focus is obviously our redemption. Marshall, you take the Rambam, as the Rambam introduces the concept of Moshiach, what the belief in Moshiach entails, he describes Moshiach will return the Shleimus of Torah mitzvahs, the Yidden will be at peace from all the Goyim, and l'chayra that would be good enough. Yeah, I mean, what is negate to us? What is going to happen with the Goyim?
The Ksaya they're going to be. The Goyim will be.
Yeah, the Ram doesn't. Yeah,
the Navi says it.
Yeah, the Navi says it. But you see that throughout the Nevuas and throughout the Rambam himself, he emphasizes about the Goyim in a few places. First of all, you have at the end of in Hilchas Tshuva, he writes how all the Goyim will come to hear Mashiach. That he'll be so smart and such a prophet that all the Goyim will come to hear him. We all know the famous pasuk, right? They'll beat their swords into plowshares, which is talking about the Goyim, not really talking about the... Now that really, if you look in the Nevu and Yeshaya, that comes as a outcome of the fact that all the Goyim are going to go to Mashiach to hear the Teras Yishom Mashiach. They're going to want to hear what Mashiach teaches them, and Mashiach will teach them how to live in peace. They will be, their eyes will be open through going to Mashiach, and they'll stop fighting with each other. And on the contrary, they'll be transformed to good. This is all an outcome of the teaching of Mashiach. The same thing as you look in the Rambam in Hilchas Mulachim. So the Rambam at the end of Perek Yud Aleph, the truth is, in the old prince, not as the old prince, I mean the prince, the European prince, it says before the war, they were all, the end of Perek Yud Aleph of the Rambam was censored, so very little is there. The first prints that were printed, it was, you had the full Rambam there. And
today they have it.
Yeah, today in the newer prints they reprinted it. Yeah. So the Rambam writes when the Rambam writes what Mashiach will do, he writes that he'll bring all the Beis Hamidrash, and then it finishes off. There's 2 lines: "V'yisaken as Elam kulei lavadas Hashem b'yachad." He'll fix up the whole world to serve Hashem together in unity, like it says. In the original, in the uncensored version, there's a whole arichas here. The Rambam speaks a lot about Yoshka. The Rambam writes how Yoshka is not Mashiach, and how the Nevi'im prophesies about him. Will come a guy, they'll say he's Mashiach and just going to cause tzaddis.
Time-wise, it was before the Rambam.
Yoshka Zirkind before the Rambam.
And the Rambam continues about his time.
And then the Rambam continues about Muhammad, which came also before the Rambam.
Right, but his time he calls him.
Yeah.
Closer to his time. He writes closer to his time.
Shabbat is wieder noch in Rambam. Shabbat is going to find Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov ist gekommen, weil die Juden seinen gewöhnt wie Salfus. Der Seisgen Tag mit der Seisgen Shabbat, sie sei begash, sei Bruchnis, they were broken. So Baal Shem Tov was revealed to revive the Yidden. So the Rambam writes that the reason why, if in other words, if Yoshka is Nish Mashiach and doesn't, he just caused so many problems, so why did Eibush to put him, what was the point of it all? And the Rambam says that we can't understand Eibush's ways, and he says it's all these things, I think the Rambam is Lashon, Sai Yoshka and Sai the Muhammad that came after him is all these
preparing the world for
Mashiach, and to prepare the world for Mashiach, and that the world should all serve Hashem together. Why? Because when these two people stood up and they saw the ideas of Yiddishkeit, they obviously they distorted it, but the basics of Yiddishkeit was spread around. Just some people say that these mitzvahs don't apply anymore, that whatever it might be, but at least people know about it. And then when Moshiach will come, when the true Moshiach will come, and he'll be very successful, so then right away they'll see that this is really the one, and they'll realize that their ancestors made them make a mistake. Then at the end, in the beginning of the next Hilchos Melachim Vayta, when the Rambam explains how the pasuk V'gar Zevim Keves, a wolf will lie with the lamb, is only a mashal, doesn't necessarily have to be taken literally. We discussed in the past. There's two periods in this. In the first period, it won't necessarily have to be literally. So the Rambam writes, what does it mean the wolf will lie with the lamb? The wolf goes on the goyim, and the lamb goes on the yidden. They'll live together means that they won't bother the yidden. That they'll eat, they won't steal, they'll eat that in peace together with the yidden. So there also you see how the nevuos are emphasizing how the goyim will be at peace with the yidden, and it emphasizes also that the Rambam writes Yachzor Kulam L'das Emes, that they won't steal this because they'll return to the true faith. It doesn't mean they'll become yidden, but they'll accept the Sheva Mitzvahs Bnei Leach. And then at the end of the Sefer, he finishes off, the whole occupation of the world will be to know Hashem alone. So the Rebbe writes that is koilel even the goyim, the famous hadron of the Rebbe. This was Tavshin Mem Hey, and the Rebbe says over there that that when the Rambam writes, the whole world will know about Hashem, also includes Goyim. And the Rebbe goes through a whole thing about how could a Goy learn Torah and v'chulu. The Rebbe says that learning his Sheva Mitzvahs he's allowed to, and learning in Yonim, even learning in Yonim of Das Hashem, knowing about the Eibishter is something which is shaykh to the Sheva Mitzvahs. The Rebbe goes through the interesting thing. The Rebbe says a word that the Goyim are going to be shaykh to Keser Torah. Very interesting thing over here. That I
remember they said they were spoken. The words that Rebbe used in the Rebbein was, I remember exactly. You can't quote me, but the concept was that there's a lot of seifim from that. There's so many seifim. It's a tererav to learn.
Right. But the Rebbe said that, anyway, fine. So we see that there's a strong emphasis about the goyim. Now, if you look in the actual, in other words, we see that what's going to happen to the goyim when Moshiach comes plays an important role in the nevuos of Geula. Now, if you look in the nevuos of the Geula when Moshiach will come, the goyim, there's many nevuos about the goyim, but there's many different there's different contexts and different nevuos. Sometimes poshet nevuos of punishing the goyim. Other times there's nevuos how the goyim will be subservient to the yidden. How they'll help the yidden, they'll honor the yidden, they'll serve the yidden. Other nevuos you see how there's a musig which this is more where we see much more highlighted. Not just that they'll be punished and they'll help the Yidden, but that there's an inyan that they themselves will be finally do what the Eibishter wants. They'll live the way the way the Eibishter wants.
The whole field of Alkein and Kavalachal is like Melasa.
Yeah.
And rewritten. Even the particle letter has to be erased and rewritten, like a hay. The kud of the hay touched the grass, so it's not enough to just separate it. You have to erase the whole kud of the hay.
Once the Rebbe spoke that by the Goyim there won't be no reproduction.
Yeah, but the Rebbe doesn't say. That's a famous sikha. I don't know if I'll get to it today, but the Rebbe doesn't accept that the Peil Mamish. Now, the word is Azay. Here is where you have. I just want to first speak about Bechlal.
If you wrote further, you erase everything what you wrote after this mistake. I want to first discuss some of. First of all, you have. You definitely have periods in this. So don't mean you have periods in this. And you also have different days. First of all, you have one opinion that says all the going will be Niskaya.
There's one opinion that says Lasalavi all the goyim will be Nizgaya. But the other, some opinions clearly reject that. But before I get to that, let's just give a general description. You have, I discussed before, you have the war of Gog and Magog, even though the Rambam says, we don't know how it's going to be, if it's going to be, when it's, how it's going to be. But you have in the Yonim of the Eibishter's Malchus, the Eibishter's kingdom being recognized by the nations of the world. You see in the Nevuos, the famous pasuk, "Vayashal Malach HaChalad Esvenu Yashem Echad Shmecha." That says the Hemshech as Nevuos of the war of Gog and Magog. But Gog and Magog, what's going to happen is some of the goyim will be wiped out. The goyim that are going to come to fight Eden will be wiped out. The rest of the goyim, by them, those goyim that are shaykh to, I guess, there'll be certain element. It's also explained in certain places, a certain element of Sholom that have no birur. They have to be Mashal Amalek. Amalek has to be completely wiped out. There's no birur that is shaykh by him really. You have other goyim that is shaykh by them in birur, but in that itself, there are going to be different types of goyim. You have in the Rabbeinu Sadi Goyin, he wrote a sefer called Amunas V'Deis, where he describes a lot about Moshiach. He writes that there's going to be some goyim that will be the most mechubadik goyim, the most greatest goyim. They'll be the ones that will help Yidden in their own houses. As the kings will be your Amnaich, means your craftsmen, and their mistresses will be the nurses, the ones that will nurse the Jewish babies. He says the most honored goyim, they'll work in the Yidden's houses. Then you'll have those that will work in the houses, in the fields. Yeah, those will be in the city, those will be in the fields. Some psukim say the goyim will be farmers, and some psukim say the goyim will help them out in the house. Then he said there will be certain goyim that will be in there. They're not going to help out. They'll live in their own cities, but they'll be subservient to them. You have in the Nevuah that we say on the Haftarah of Sukkot, we speak about the goyim coming up to celebrate Sukkot. That if they don't come to celebrate Sukkot, they won't have rain. They're going to come to serve Hashem. They'll be bottles of Yidden, but they're not necessarily going to be servants of the Yidden. He actually, very interesting how he breaks it down based on different Nevuahs. He breaks down that.
Is that in Yeshaya?
Ich weiß nicht, ob es in Yeshaya. Ich dachte mir, es ist nicht, aber
Ja, das sage ich nicht, in der Siddur, it's not not Shvishal Pesach. Not after Shul Pesach.
You say it in the first day of... No, you say it in the first from Zechariah. Yeah, it's able...
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, what happens if...
Yeah, so... it's interesting how he breaks it down. Some goyim will be more... Now... obviously, there's going to be different periods. There's going to be the first kuf of Yemei Mashiach. When Adam Kim Hagin Loig, Lav Dafka, the goyim are going to be so bottled to eat in the second period. They're going to be, much more bottled to the. In other words, they're going to be in a higher level as well. But there's going to be. I'm just saying, even practically, there's going to be different levels of goyim and how much they're involved in helping the. You also have different days in the quality of the goyim, like I mentioned before. What is going to be their involvement of Torah mitzvahs? One day it goes to the extreme. There's the Ran and others says that they'll serve the Eibusher Shechem Echad. The pasuk says the nation will be transformed to serve Hashem like one chelek, one together. That he says the goyim will mamish convert. The Ran holds this way. There's other Rishonim I think there's other sources Gan find mashma that those goyim that remain after Gog and Magog, they're going to be so big that they're going to push it convert to Yiddishkeit. The whole Shaila, because the Chayr says you're not Mekabel Gatem Limay Mashiach. I don't want to get into that. But one day is that they'll convert. Another day is the way the Rebbe learns Pshat and the Rambam very clearly is that they're going to be or the way in other places the Rebbe learns Pshat that they're going to be goyim. They're not going to be Yidden, but they're going to be Mekabel Shav Mitzvahs B'nei and they're going to have the status of what's called a Ger Toishav. A Ger Toishav is a halacha of that it doesn't apply Bismanas, that only applies in the time of Yovel. That a goy could formally accept a status where he's accepting Shav Mitzvahs B'nei because that's what Eibishter wants, and he has certain rights and privileges. You have to give him. You have to take care of him if he's, if he doesn't have what to eat, whatever. You have to take care of him. You're allowed to give him. Allowed to live in Eretz Yisrael. And the Rebbe has a whole sicha in Chelik Chavav in Pashas Yisrei, I think. Somewhere the Rebbe goes through a whole thing that the famous sicha of the Rebbe about Shemitz Bnei Noach. The Ger Toishav is also called a little bit of Gatos. It's not he's still a guy, he didn't convert like what we call conversion today, but it has some type of status where he's like leaving behind Goyishkeit and coming. So the Rebbe learns like this. The Rebbe brings down Zemaim Chazal that says that every Yid will have 2,000, what is it, by every tzitzis. He brings the whole thing that a few thousand servants hanging on to each of your tzitzis. That whoever is careful mitzvah tzitzis, he has up to 2,800 slaves. I don't remember exactly the number. He brings a pasuk that the old goyim will come, they'll hold on to a corner of a Jewish garment. They're going to want to help him. So the whole chesh when it comes to the few thousand. So the Rebbe says they're not going to be, you have an halacha, you have a gather of an evet knani, someone that's poshet a slave, a non-Jew that becomes a Jewish slave, he's poshet mechuyev mitzvahs like a woman is mechuyev mitzvahs. So the Rebbe learns pshat, they're not going to be evet in the literal sense of the word, they're going to be mamish a slave, they're going to be like a ger teisha. Then there is two other things here. There's another thing is there's certain medrashim and thus that it says that when Moshiach will come, the goyim will get another few mitzvahs. There's a medrash says in Pashas Vayechi on the pasuk says about Moshiach at ki yovei Shiloi v'lo yikrasam. Then the next pasuk says kibas
yeah.
Yeah, Oisri Lagafanira, the Zirkind B'Nesin Kibas Bayan Lushi V'Daman of Susay, and the Medrash Rabbi over here, and there's other places as well, it says that Moshiach is coming to give the Goyim 30 mitzvahs. You also have a Gemara I saw today, I think it's in Chulin Tzadik Beis, I think, mixing it up with another Masechta. It says there that the Goyim are going to have 30 mitzvahs, either they have or they will have. If you look in the back of Encyclopedia Talmudus on Bnei Noach, he has at the end of the volume, he has a nisfach, he has an extra thing on the Ben Noach, and he goes through different shittas what the 30 mitzvahs are. And according to some opinions, the 30 mitzvahs, that the Sheva mitzvahs that the Goyim have now contain really 30 subsections. But there's another thing that these 30 mitzvahs, when Mashiach will come, they're going to have 30 mitzvahs.
They connected it with this coming, the going sukkahs.
Yeah, one of them will be sukkahs. One of them will be sukkahs. That's the whole Gemara. You have the Gemara in the beginning of Sefta V'Tazara. They will laugh at the Goyim. They'll say, "Why don't we get reward to Torah mitzvahs? You never offer it to us." Which you said, first of all, I did. You didn't when you rejected it. But you know what? I'll give you one small mitzvah, which is sukkah, and then let's see if we'll keep it. Then they will make the sun come out, be very hot. They're going to kick their sukkah. But it's connected. That one of them taka. That's why it says, and after they'll come up for sukkahs. So there's also in this medrash is Eshton's. From one hand, you see that it's clear he's learning that they're going to remain goyim, they're not going to have all tayag mitzvahs, but they're going to be this interesting thing. They'll get more mitzvahs. They'll be more. Maybe she'll give them more mitzvahs to do. There is another nekud here. The Altrepel nekud Torah and Parsha Shlach writes an interesting thing. He writes that la'asud lavi the goyim will be mechuyev in mitzvahs like women. Why? So there you have in the back in Nekud Torah you have a sophist, from Kisvei Yad. So there you have one of the sophist is explained because they'll be like avodim. A slave, Evet Knani, if a Jew buys a non-Jewish slave, you might have in the law today. We don't have the laws of slavery, but if you have a slave, so he's obligated to keep all the mitzvahs that a woman is. Besides, whatever he doesn't put whatever. So they'll be mechuyev mitzvahs. Why? Because they'll be slaves. Now, again, I don't know if pshat is at every single goyim. I mean, if you read the thing, Pashas, it seems, all the goyim will be mechuyev mitzvahs because and so if the word is they'll be slaves, you'll have to learn pshat that all the goyim will be slaves. But you could learn pshat that some of the goyim will be slaves, others won't be slaves. Like I mentioned, like I told you, Pshat the goyim clearly. He makes different chilukim of goyim. Some goyim will be like that, some goyim will be like this. But you have this musa that they'll be slaves. Now the thing is taken much deeper because if from Chassidus it's mashma taka that it's not just going to be some goyim will be slaves. Chassidus and Moshiach you have in the Alter Rebbe, the Sefer Morim Tovkov Samach Vav. If you want to look up, it's first volume, page Reish Mem Zayin. It's whole Maimer of the Alter Rebbe, the attack connected with these weeks, that the Yitzchak wanted to give the brachas to Esav. At the end, Yaakov got the brachas. So, and what's the brachas that Yaakov get? Yavducha amim v'yishtachavu l'chalum. Nations will serve you. Kingdoms will bow down to you. And the Zohar, another place to explain that this will be fulfilled when Mashiach will come. When Mashiach will come, when it says that the Goyim will serve the Yidden, this will be a fulfillment of Yitzchak's bracha Yavducha amim. I mean, obviously you had a little bit before, but when Mashiach will come, it will be fulfilled completely. So, the Alter Rebbe explains a very interesting thing, that Yitzchak wanted to give the brachas to Esav because he wanted Esav to be in his body, or whatever the whole thing is, but the problem was that Esav himself couldn't take care of himself. He would have gotten these Giluyim, it would have all been lost in him, would have become Esav. It couldn't be done in an internal way. So, Yaakov had to get the brachas, and Yaakov, through doing the avodas habirurim, he eventually will refine Esav. So the Alter Rebbe goes through a Moedik thing. He explains that through the fact that the Goyim will serve Yidden when Mashiach will come, so they'll be like bottle and toffel to the Yidden. So they'll also the ha'aris and hamshachas that Yidden will get will filter down to them by virtue of the fact that they're subservient to the Yidden, by virtue of the fact that they're servants to the Yidden. So the kavon of Yitzchak that Esav should get in his body, that Esav should take get these oiris, will be fulfilled through the Goyim being avodim to the Yidden. Yeah, but whatever, there's a beer he gives, I don't know if I'm saying it over to Shleimus, but that through them being, they're working, like the Epistle gives says, I'm not saying a slave works hard for the master, and the master eats the food, so all the yigi of the slave is nichla, gets elevated, gets included in the tainug of the master when he eats the food. So Musa that the Goyim's avodah will have an aliyah, they'll be able to be connected to the Yiddens, what Yidden are getting. It's interesting, but you also have in the Mittel Rebbe, actually have in Sefer Erchim, he has, there's a whole thing, how the Goyim will, it says that v'amdu zarim v'rod tzeinchem. It says that now we have to plow and so on, plow. The Goyim will do that when Mashiach will come. Chassidus take us in a very deep dimension. What is the avodah that we do now plowing the field and working the fields? The avodah sabirurim. We're elevating the world. But Mashiach will come, the Goyim will be doing the avodah sabirurim for us. The Goyim will have an aliyah. So they are, in other words, in a certain sense, some of the avodah that we're doing now, they'll be doing then. He goes to think, what birurim are you going to need then? It won't be any bad in the world. So he says it's not the bad itself, but it's noiga klipas noiga of atzilus. Peter Sheni, the Mittel Rebbe has a whole thing in I think it's in Shari Tshuva, the whole long mimer. Explains very deep in Yonim about the level of the Goyim when Mashiach will come. There's a very deep, interesting thing how Pasha are going to be an avoid ruchni, so they're going to be doing, the Yidden will be elevated to a higher level, and the Yidden will be too high for them to lower themselves to do this. So the Goyim will be working on behalf of the Yidden. In other words, the Goyim will have an aliyah, but then obviously not going to be the state the Yidden will be. So they're going to be doing avodah sabirurim. Whatever it means, lots of avodah sabirurim. So it's a deep. The Pich Chassidus, you see that the whole maim of the matter of Sholom, is. I'm not discussing the nigla aspect. They'll be mechuyev mitzvahs, won't be mechuyev mitzvahs, but you see that there's a very spiritual. They'll be much more spiritually in tune, and than we have today. Now, B'nigeya, getting back to the Rambam over here, B'nigeya, so we see that the role that Sholom will play when Mashiach will come, what's going to happen with them is a very central theme in the Nevuos. On the other hand, you have Nevuos that seem to imply that the Goyim will be destroyed. Different Nevuos, 2/3 will be cut off. So, first of all, like this, there's one interesting thing, just to give a perspective, where the Rabbi explains that the Iker Chiddush of Moshiach is the fact that it'll elevate Sholom. You could think the Iker Chiddush of Moshiach is the fact that he'll bring back to what all the Gilui, in other words, Zinyan Mashiach will do for the Yidden. The Rebbe says the Rambam finishes off the first parak after the Rambam discusses Mashiach Vadai. What's the next thing the Rambam mentions? Doesn't stop there. In the end of Perek Yudalef, it goes through a whole arichas about the bitter of the Ummei So'elim, how they'll be rectified. The Rebbe says the main chiddush of Mashiach is the Sicha of Achron Shal Pesach Tavshim Mem Ches, Indian of Mashiach Keser, Palgi Keser. The Rebbe says that the fact that Mashiach, the fact, we already had, by Gidon, we already had a king that ruled over us like David the Shlomo. But the fact that you're going to have someone that's going to rule over the whole world and bring the whole world to the state of serving the Eibusher, that's the chiddush of Mashiach. So, you could learn, there are other sichas even where the Rebbe seems to learn the fact that the Goyim will be elevated is like a second class inyan, that's not the main focus. That's Shirayim, that's nicht der Iker. But in this sicha, the Rebbe learns very strongly, Kilu, that, I'm not saying the Iker is the Goyim, but that the Chiddush, that the thing that was never there before is that even the Goyim are going to serve the Eibusher. Now, what is the role that the Goyim have? The Rebbe has a whole sicha about this, famous sicha in Chelu Chav Gimel, Parshas Balak, about the role of the Goyim Lost Lava. It says they're going to be cut off, they won't be cut off. He's mentioned before that they won't have reproduction, but the Rebbe doesn't like that word at the end of the day, because if so, you have nevuos about Goyim. It's only going to exist until a certain amount of time. So the Rebbe says what the Goyim being destroyed means, the question is when Mashiach will come, will they have their own identity, or their whole thing will just be as a tuffle to the Yidden? So the Rebbe says, you could look at it that Mashiach is coming just for the Jewish people. Elamai, in order for the Jewish people to be able to have Tatum, to have the Goyim of Mashiach, the whole world needs to be rectified. So whatever's happening with the Goyim is just a medium that the Yidden should be able to have Tatum mitzvahs and the Goyim of Mashiach properly. Another thing is that there's a deeper thing, that there's a kavanah that the world itself they on their own should come to recognize the kingdom of the Eibusher. And the Rebbe says, Rebbe and Pshat and the Rambam and Tanya, that it's like the second life. It's not just that the elevation of the Goyim of Mashiach will come is in order to enhance the Gul of the Yidden, but the point is that the Goyim themselves should recognize the Eibusher and serve the Eibusher. What is so special about that? Because the Rebbe says, if the Goyim are only accepting the Eibusher because they're bottled to the Yidden, kum tachos, that they're not really accepting the Eibusher's kingdom. They're bottled to the Yidden, so they just have to follow what the Yidden are telling them to do. So it comes out that it's not really going to help the Yidden at the end of the day fully, because the Goyim are not really bottled to the Eibusher. They're just bottled to the Eibusher because they're bottled to the Yidden, but they themselves don't appreciate the Eibusher. So it says when the world on its own will, inside their own understanding, inside their own existence, will appreciate and understand and accept the Eibusher, then also the Yidden could really appreciate the Gula. But if the Gula by the Goyim will just be in a way that is going to be in order to help the Yidden, and the Goyim will feel that it's not going to become part of the Goyim really internally, so it's not going to be a Gula Shleima. B'chol, if there's a lot more to discuss over here. Main thing is, as one last word I'll finish off, the Rebbe says, "Was the chiluk zwischen Goyim und Yidden and Mashiach come?" The whole world will serve the Eibusher. They have a dir b'tachtonim, so the difference is by the Goyim that sich anheren that they're created by the Eibusher. By Yidden that sich anheren that they are the Eibusher. They are one with the Eibusher. That's going to be the chiluk, in other words. By the Goyim, they're also part of it. Everything Yeshar Nivras, Yeshar Miti. But the word they're going to feel is that they are one with Eibusher because the Eibusher created them. By Yidden Vatzachonar, they mitzad their mitzias themselves are one with the Eibusher. Anyway.